As the army of the dead continues marching towards the wall, the rulers of Westeros attend a meeting at King's Landing to discuss a possible truce in order to deal with the northern threat. To ensure their safety and as a demonstration of their power, the Unsullied arrive at the walls of the city alongside the Dothraki while the Lannister forces prepare their defenses. At the meeting, held in the dragon pit that once housed the dragons of House Targaryen, representatives from each major faction in the continent were in attendance. Representing Queen Daenerys Targaryen was Tyrion Lannister, Missandei, Varys, Jorah Mormont, and Theon Greyjoy. Representing Jon Snow and the North was Brienne of Tarth, Davos Seaworth, and Sandor Clegane. And representing Queen Cersei and the Iron Throne was Jaime Lannister, Qyburn, Euron Greyjoy, and Gregor Clegane. Everyone is present at the meeting except for Daenerys, who arrives late, flying in on the back of Drogon. As Tyrion starts the discussion, he is interrupted by Euron, who addresses his nephew, demanding his immediate submission or else Yara would be killed. He then proceeds to insult Tyrion until Cersei orders him to return to his seat. The discussion then begins properly, and Jon Snow explains about the army of the dead. Cersei is dismissive of his claims until the Hound brings out a crate, opening it to reveal the undead creature captured beyond the wall. The White shrieks horribly and charges towards Cersei until pulled back by the Hound, who cuts it in half. But the creature remains alive even after being hacked to pieces, only killed when Jon Snow uses fire and dragon glass. When Euron Greyjoy learns that the creatures can't swim, he announces that he will withdraw from the current conflict, taking his ships back to the Iron Islands where they will wait out the danger. Cersei calls his departure cowardly before agreeing to the truce with the Dragon Queen on the condition that the King in the North declares his neutrality in the war for the Iron Throne, swearing not to take sides in any future conflicts. Jon, unwilling to lie, says he cannot agree because he has already pledged himself to Daenerys. Outraged, Cersei then ends the meeting, immediately withdrawing her people from the dragon pit. This leaves the former king in the north to face his allies, who confront him about his reckless honesty. Although Daenerys appreciates his loyalty, she needs the truce to move forward, and so Tyrion decides to go to his sister alone to try and convince her to return. Although their discussion is heated, with Tyrion admitting to the murder of their father, Cersei does seem to acknowledge her brother had no ill will towards her children, and in fact loved Myrcella and Tommen. In the end, Tyrion learns his sister is pregnant, and Cersei returns to the dragon pit, where she agrees to the truce, promising to bring her forces north. However, back in the Red Keep, Cersei speaks privately to Jaime and explains that she has no intention of fulfilling her end of the agreement and had a plan all along. Euron, she reveals, did not really abandon them, instead only feigning betrayal so he can take his ships to Essos. There they will hire the Golden Company and bring 20,000 warriors across the Narrow Sea. With her enemies in the north and fresh armies at her command, Cersei can secure their hold over the southern realms and strengthen their defenses to face whatever threat later emerges from the north. Jaime is horrified by the plan, believing that they must keep their word and help fight the true threat beyond the wall. Seeing that he cannot convince her, Jaime declares he will travel north alone, at which point Cersei threatens him in the hopes of forcing him to stay. However, he calls her bluff and leaves anyway, knowing she will not truly do him harm. As Jaime leaves the capital, riding north, snow begins to fall in the Crown Lands. On Dragonstone, Jon Snow goes over the plan to move their forces north, stating that the Dothraki can ride their horses along the King's Road, while Jon and Daenerys take the Unsullied by ship to White Harbor, meeting the Dothraki on the main road as they travel to Winterfell. Jorah suggests that Daenerys should fly on her dragon to ensure her safe arrival, but the Queen decides to go by ship with Jon so they can be seen together as proper allies. Before their departure, Theon has a final discussion with Jon, who forgives him for his past actions and encourages him to go rescue his sister. Theon then confronts the last of the Ironborn who were preparing to leave, asking that they help him rescue Yara. Their leader refuses, and so the two fight for control of the group, with Theon taking the man's punishment until he was left winded, then attacking with all his strength. His rival defeated, Theon takes leadership of the men who agreed to help rescue his sister. On a ship traveling north, Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen spend the night together. In Winterfell, Sansa receives a letter from Jon stating that he has bent the knee to Queen Daenerys and discusses it with Littlefinger, who continues his manipulations trying to turn the Stark siblings against each other. They then move on to talk about Arya, and once again Peter Baelish tries to divide the sisters. Littlefinger, believing he has succeeded in his plan, is then present in the main hall when Arya is summoned to answer charges of treason. However, he then learns that he is the one being accused, with Sansa listing his crimes, including the murder of Lysa Arryn and the conspiracy to murder Jon Arryn. Bran also reveals that he knows about his betrayal of their father, holding a dagger to his throat in the throne room of the capital. Littlefinger asks that the men of the Vale come to his defense, but they refuse, leaving him to fall on his knees and beg for his life. Yet it does him no good, and Sansa orders his death, leaving Arya to slit his throat. Later, Sam arrives in Winterfell and is reunited with Bran, explaining that he has come to help Jon fight the Great War. Bran then reveals that he has seen visions that explain Jon Snow is not the son of Ned Stark, but rather Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark, their secret child born in Dorne. Sam then realizes this is related to an entry in the private journal of High Septon Maynard, where it stated Rhaegar's marriage to Elia Martell was annulled, allowing him to marry Lyanna Stark in a secret ceremony. With both pieces of this puzzle now coming together, Bran and Sam realize Jon Snow, whose true name is Aegon Targaryen, is the last living son of Rhaegar and grandson of the Mad King, making him the true heir to the Iron Throne. Further north, at Eastwatch by the Sea, the army of the dead has at last arrived, with Tormund Giantsbane and Beric Dondarrion watching as the White Walkers lead their soldiers out of the haunted forest. However, the threat becomes even more dire when the dragon Viserion comes diving out of the sky, attacking the wall with bright blue dragon fire. The Night's Watch and their wildling allies scramble to get down from the wall as the Ice Dragon ravages their forces, flying through the air with the Night King mounted on its back. The attack is so quick and destructive, the defenders could do nothing to stop it, with the easternmost section of their mighty wall cracking and crashing down, leaving a large open space for the army of the dead to march south. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like First Spear Centurion, Aditya Goturu, Maester Hades of Skagos, and Nate Strong the Liberator. If you'd like to help the channel with a monthly donation, click on the Patreon link, and please be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to see more.